watching this, I know you are sick of living at home. Living with your parents in your 20s is not easy, babe. I know you are desperate for tips right now on how to stop spiraling. Especially if you come from a traditional household, all the advice on the internet is not catered to Eastern or brown culture. They say things like just set boundaries, just communicate. That is not gonna cut it with brown parents. You cannot control your parents, and so we're gonna go through what you can control to make your own life better right now. This video is for you. If you don't know me, guys, my name is Neethi. I am your older sister, everything glow up, confidence, dating, and advice. I studied neuroscience and psychology, and I work in attachment research in Toronto. And so everything I say is backed in research and experience. So I'm gonna start with a little story time to kind of explain to you guys where I'm at when it comes to this. So recently I've had a lot of change of events happen in my own life where I've had to consider moving home. And I recently lost my job and just some other personal things going on. I was 18, I moved out into my own condo, I went to university, and I've stayed here ever since. So the idea of being 25 right now and moving back with my parents is scaring me so much. Moving home is gonna mean a lot more tension in the house, like with my parents, especially like not working. It's gonna mean a lot of like lack of freedom, like obviously living on my own, like, you know, I can do whatever I want, I can go wherever I want, whenever I want. And also there's a difference in like the expectations and stuff that I'm gonna have when I go home. Like my dad's gonna be like expecting me to do certain things, expecting me to act certain way, expecting me to help out with certain things around the house. And what I realized is like moving home for me as an option, like it's not even about like the actual space and like the house, it's about just like the emotional safety that you have when you're at home with like your parents understanding you, your parents making comments, maybe your parents making me, at least me, feel a certain way. I think that my parents, like their words really affect me, and so living with them every day and hearing them would have a mental toll on me. So I have kind of like put together a list and strategies that like I could use if I was to move home to kind of like protect my own mental peace, and this is what you are gonna do too, okay? So let's get right into it. This is why living at home feels hard to you. First of all, when you're living at home, you probably are feeling like you're being treated like a child sometimes. Like, even though you're a grown woman or a man, you are still treated like a kid because like maybe you are the youngest in the house, or like you are still the kid to your parents even though you are fully grown. And sometimes it can be really annoying when we're this age and we're in our 20s and we're being treated like a kid, we're being spoken to like a kid, or we're given rules like we're kids. Like you do not have the privacy to always do what you want to do, have who you want to have over, go wherever you want to go. Like your parents are like always listening in, like who are you on the phone with, where are you going, who are you just with, or like they kind of know everything about your life. You don't really have like your own space to do things, I guess, because they're always like in your business, and that's not really like what we want in our 20s. I also think that like especially if you're from like Eastern culture, we have a lot of guilt that goes on. Our parents will say things like, you know, I've done this for you, I've sacrificed so much for you, I moved countries for you as an immigrant. And so saying no to them or like not doing exactly what they say can make us feel a lot like really bad and like really guilty sometimes. Like grandparents will say like they put a roof over your head, they've done this, but like to be honest, like that's what a parent is meant to do. And I don't mean to like diminish the sacrifices that they've done for us, but like when you actually think about it, the job of a parent is to provide like, you know, shelter, food, water, like safety to a child. But sometimes the way that I feel like grandparents can say it, it's like their own stress or their own resentment of what they've sacrificed for their kids, that they kind of like tell their kids that. And then it makes us feel guilty, like they've done so much for me, like I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't do this, I should just keep my mouth shut. And with all due respect to what they do, and obviously respect your parents, you don't owe them everything. Like just because like, you know, they provided a life and they raised 2 kids, like that doesn't mean that you owe them for the rest of your life. Don't ever be just disrespectful. That doesn't also mean that you can't like have like your boundaries. The cultural expectations are also real. Like they're not always bad cultural expectations. Like I know in brown culture, like, you know, there's a lot of family values and stuff, and like being there with your family, showing up to family events, like being together a lot. And like I think that that's really positive. But like for example, like if you have your own life, or you're trying to build a business, or you're trying to work on yourself, or you need some time to you, but like you're having guests over all the time, and I know how hard this is, babe. There is definitely a lot of struggles that come with it. And so that's why I kind of wanted to talk about the things that you can do without changing your parents. I want to emphasize the fact that the sooner that you learn that you are not going to change your parents and convince them to be a certain way and convince them to act a certain way, the better it's going to be for you. I have hit my head against the wall trying to tell my parents communication, trying to make them understand like I'm allowed to have boundaries, trying to make them understand that I have different cultural values than them sometimes, or like let me be a full-time content creator as an example, and they're like, no, get a 9-to-5 job. Like they're probably in their 40s or 50s or 60s, they are not changing. you can keep hoping and hoping and trying and getting glimpses of hope and thinking that they will change and your life will get better, but I think that the sooner you realize like they are probably not going to change, it's more you who has to change. It's kind of like the let them theory. Let them, and then let me do what I can in my control to make this a better situation. I think the sooner that you will be happy and the sooner that this will benefit you. It's something that I've recently had to just like understand that I'm not, for example, convince my parents that being a full-time content creator is a good career path for me, because it's just not a good career path in their mind and in their generation. And so the sooner I learn that I'm not going to convince them, and I learn to like manage with all the tips I'm about to give you, the more peaceful I'm going to be in my own life. The first tip I'm going to give you is to stop over explaining yourself. Now, this doesn't mean hide things from your parents. They shouldn't have a hand in any part of your life. No. Over explaining yourself can sometimes dig you into a hole. Like, I've done this where like sometimes if you tell them too much about what's going on in your life, they become over involved and then they feel like they have the right to like give their opinion or tell you what to do. So for example, you don't owe them a full itinerary of like what you're doing this Friday night and where you're going. Like I understand, like with respect you should. You don't have to tell them I'm going out this place this time and then this person's coming in this and this. You can kind of say things like, you know what, hey, I'm going out for dinner with my friend. I'm gonna be back at this time, period. I know they see parents are gonna ask you a million questions and you're probably like, that doesn't work. They're gonna say with who, where, why, when, how. I think that you don't need to over explain, because I think that what happens sometimes when you're over explaining is you also might end up lying because you don't want them to like say no or like say something about what you're doing. So just kind of keeping like your explanations of what's going on in your life to a minimal. Even with me, I'm working on a business right now, dad, and I have a plan, and in this many months, if it doesn't work, I'm gonna get a job, period. I don't need to tell them I'm being a content creator. No, being a full-time content creator, like this is how I can make money. Look at this person, she's doing it. Social media is the fastest growing, you should understand. No, I don't need to over explain it. And it's gonna cause me more stress to sit there and try to do that than just saying things like the bare minimum that you should be telling them: when you're gonna be home, that you're safe, where you're going. That is enough that you need to do that. Do not dig your hole by over explaining. Number 2 is actually use I statements to avoid conflict with them. This is actually something that really shocked me recently, and it's like super applicable if you can catch on to it. So a lot of times when our parents are doing something or we're arguing, like we'll say things like, you were yelling at me, or you always interrupt me, or you're always this. When you say this to anybody in your life, but specifically your parents, the conversation is gonna become very defensive, and like it feels like an attack when you're like, you're this, you're yelling at me, you're doing this. My dad, for example, will always raise his voice at me when he gets upset, and I'll always be like, you're yelling. You yelled at me. You're yelling at me. And then I think when I say that, even though in my opinion it's facts, you are yelling, puts him on the defense to be like, no, I wasn't. And the conversation just like isn't gonna go anywhere. Instead of saying you always interrupt me, say like, I feel like I can't finish my sentence, so like I'm not getting my point across. Instead of saying like, you don't give me any space, say, I just feel really overwhelmed when I don't have like some quiet time after I'm worked. For example, with my dad, instead of saying like, you're yelling at me, I could say things like, I want to have this conversation without us raising our voices. When you take the you out, it feels less of an attack to them. And then when you say things like, I really want to like have this conversation without raising our voices, like they kind of don't know what to say because you're making it about you, like not the parent. And so they're kind of going to be like taken aback, stuttered, and then they'll be like, okay, I guess. Or like, if you're telling them, I just feel really overwhelmed and I don't have quiet time after work, they might understand that a lot better. They will understand that a lot better because you're making it like a you issue. Like, I feel overwhelmed. They can't be like, no, you're not overwhelmed. Like, nobody can tell you like, no, you're not overwhelmed. No, we can't have a quiet conversation without yelling. Like, it's gonna make them not know what to say, and then it's gonna actually make them understand it better, especially because you're making it a you issue, and then they're not on the attack. This is actually a tip that has changed my life. Instead of you do this, you control me, you do this, make it like, I feel this, or like, I'm just overwhelmed, or I get like this, or why don't we have a conversation like this? You know what I mean? Make it less of an attack on them. And then the third really important tip is creating micro rituals for yourself. Like, this is gonna sound really basic, but like, even though you're in the home of your parents, I think you do have your own bedroom, I would hope, or you have your own bed, or you have something. You have a bathroom you can go in and close the door. You need to find like days or nights where like you just are making time for yourself. Even if your parents are constantly on you, opening your door, checking what you're doing. This is something my dad always does. He likes to just walk in my room all the time. You just gotta give yourself like a little bit of a safe space that's just you, so you don't feel like someone's always in your space and like you're out of control. Even if it's literally just sitting with headphones in your bed for like an hour a day, so you like, even if they walk into your room, like you can't hear them, or like your attention isn't there, do that. The micro solo routines can be like literally just going for a morning walk before everybody wakes up. I don't think they're gonna get yelling at you for going on a walk. And maybe that 15 minutes or that 30-minute walk every day is like your you time, where like you have time to just think without your parents around. It could also be like just doing your nightly skincare routine in the bathroom, like closing the bathroom door and literally just doing your skincare. Even if it's like 3 products, I'm spending 30 minutes and I'm gonna make sure I'm properly moisturized and my face is washed, and like this is my me time that I get to look forward to every single night, where I feel like I'm just with me doing something for me and it's not like my parents involved in everything I'm doing. Another thing is journaling. Journaling has done wonders for me, especially when I'm actually going through it with my parents and like we're fighting. Journaling out like what they said and how it made me feel really, really, really helps. You and your journal are together alone. Nobody's gonna read your journal, hide that shit. And you can kind of like say whatever you want, say whatever you feel. Maybe things that you can't tell your friend on the phone because they might hear, or things you obviously can't tell your parents, or like feelings that they're not gonna understand. Like you can write it out and say it, think it to yourself, like in your journal. It's like getting it out to somebody, but like it's a safe space because nobody else can read it or know about it. Protect your mental space by just giving yourself these little times that's just you, so that you don't feel like you never get any time just you. Another thing is like actually wearing headphones. Like I know like if you're just like really just need like a day to yourself, like even if you're like walking into the kitchen, like just putting your AirPods in. I know parents don't like this, but like, and this is probably not a solution for every day, but like once in a while, like if that's what you need, then like that's what you gotta do. Sometimes I have nothing playing in my AirPods. They're just noise canceling, okay? And I just don't want to hear anything right now. Now the next point I want to make is actually going to be life-changing for you, and it's sometimes it's things your parents say can hurt, but sometimes it's actually not about you. And this is a big realization I've made. What knowing this made me do, it changed like how much emotional like roller coaster and how much emotional turbulence I had with my parents. Because a lot of times parents say things to you out of anger, out of fear, out of what they think is best. They do things, and it hurts you and it makes you upset, but it's actually sometimes like not even about you. For example, like sometimes your parents aren't trying to control you, but they might be like projecting their own fears onto you, or they're trying to like stay really connected to you and they don't want to lose their kid, and it's coming off as control. It's not always personal to you, but it can affect you. So for example, like with content creation, I want to do content full time right now that I lost my job. I would get so affected by like my dad saying things like, no, Neetha, you cannot do this full time. Like this is not a career path. You need to get a job. You need to get a job. I'm disappointed in you. You're unstable. Words like that, which were really upsetting me. Like, how is my dad calling me unstable? Like that hurts. But what I have to realize is even though he is talking about me in that situation, he's saying, you are unstable. Me. It's actually not about me. Even though the words are about me and you're like, what do you mean? He is talking about me. They are talking about me. It's actually a him thing. You have to kind of like step back, almost like think of it as like a third person watching this as a movie, like watching this argument or watching what they said to you. I had to realize that my dad saying this, that's not a career path, you need to get a job, you're unstable, is because in his mind he is scared of his daughter not having an income and his daughter not having stability, and then maybe like relying on her father. Like no parent would want that, which is fair. And in his generation and in his knowledge, having a 9-to-5 is the most stable way to make an income and is the right life path to choose. So him saying that I'm unstable and I'm whatever, he's disappointed, is actually not about Neethi. Neethi's an unstable person, Neethi's horrible, Neethi's this. Even though I kind of am internalizing it, like, wow, my dad thinks I'm unstable, my dad's not supportive of me, like I'm such a horrible daughter, I wish I did better for him. It's his own things that he's learned in life, which is 9-to-5 is the way to go, and it's his own projections of his own fear. He's projecting his own fear of, I don't want my daughter to not have an income, so let me just tell her to get a 9-to-5 and tell her that she's unstable, and like stressing him out so much that he's projecting it onto me. Do you guys kind of see what I'm saying? This gave me so much freedom because I stopped internalizing the things he was saying and getting upset over it. Parents have their own generational trauma. They have their own ways of thinking based on things that they went through in their 40-50 years of life. They have their cultural upbringing. You might think that something that they're saying is about you, like for example, like controlling you and saying like maybe like not letting you like see your friends. You have to kind of look at it as like, is it about you? You might be like, what have I ever done to break your trust? Why me? Why can't I see your friends? Why are they so harsh on me? Like, what did I ever do to you? It's maybe their own fear, their fear of you getting hurt, your fear of you doing drugs and spiraling, their fear of you ending up in a really bad situation, their fear of losing touch with their kids if their kid moves away. Like, it's their own fears that's coming off as like controlling you, you're not allowed to go out. You kind of have to step back and like not take it personal, like, oh my god, it's me, like I'm a horrible person, like why did they say this about me, they hate me, and then crying like I would do. You have to like look at it as like, oh, so this is like their upbringing, their fears, their trauma that they're just like putting it onto me kind of. Another thing is look at the intention, not the delivery. And listen, bro, I know that the delivery and the way that your parents say things to you or act like can really have an effect on you. So this is a lot easier said than done, like I get it. But one thing, for example, is you have to look at is our parents 99.9% of the time never have bad intentions for us. Even if you feel like they're trying to control you, not letting you go out, not letting you do things, it's not that they have bad intentions for you. Their intention is not to make you miserable, and their intention is not to hurt you. Their intention is to keep you safe. And that's the only way that they know how, even though it doesn't make sense and it might not be fair. Once again, it's their own projections, it's their own fears, it's their own ways of thinking. Look at the intent, which is to keep me safe, not the delivery. And I think that that helps with like the resentment and like starting to hate your parents. Like for example, the intent with my dad was he just wants me to have a good stable life. His intention is to guide me into having a good stable life and a stable income so I never have to struggle. His intent is not bad. Why would he want me to be miserable? He wouldn't. Now, his delivery, saying I'm a disappointment, trying to push me, trying to force me to get a job, not okay. But let me like put that aside, not put that aside, but let me just like understand that his intention is good, and that prevents me from like hating him. I think that there are a lot of brown kids who do grow up like hating their parents, and it's like sad, right? Because it's your parents, like you don't want to hate them. But I also get it, like they put you through things, or they don't allow you to do things, or you feel claustrophobic with them. In order to like when you're journaling or when you're thinking about it, like at least try to understand that they have a good intention. The last thing I want to talk about is reframing the guilt. And so us as kids, especially if you're living with your parents in your 20s, like we have a lot of guilt. I think especially culturally, I think especially like brown girl guilt, eldest daughter guilt is a real thing. The guilt is really hard to break from, but it's something that needs to be done. Guilt is a sign that you're breaking an old pattern, not doing something wrong. Take that in. You're allowed to grow, you're allowed to have your own ideas, you're allowed to have your own thoughts, your own values, even if other people don't necessarily agree with them, okay? So for example, like the other day, my dad sent me a text being like, so-and-so has a job opening for you. Can I send it to you? Or I'm gonna send it to you. I replied, no thank you, because I've explained to him that I'm gonna pursue content creation for a few months full-time, so I'm not applying to a job right now. Then he proceeded to say to me something like, well, you making these bad decisions in life is not just affecting you, it's affecting the whole entire family. There we go. Putting the guilt on me that I'm stressing him out and I'm negatively affecting my family because I'm not choosing to get a job. Because it is probably causing him stress that I don't have a job. You know, like he doesn't like that stress. So he's trying to pressure me, and then now I actually had a moment when I read that text of like feeling really guilty. Like, of course I don't want to make anybody else stressed, and I feel guilty now about not getting a job, but like I shouldn't, because I shouldn't be getting a job so that my dad doesn't feel bad, or I shouldn't be doing it out of guilt. You have to keep reminding yourself that you respect your parents and you really value their opinion, but at the end of the day, you're living your life for you. You have to have enough confidence in yourself that you can make the right decisions and you have your morals. This is like actually key, and it's something that I've really been having to work on. For example, with this, you have been through things in your own life that have shown you that you're strong. You have gotten through situations and you've managed to be okay. You have dealt with relationship issues and you've gotten over them and you've managed to be okay. You have intelligence. Like, you are not dumb. And so you have to have so much trust and confidence in yourself that if you make a decision that they don't agree with, you cannot let the guilt get to you to the point that you're like literally gonna like change your whole decision and just appease them or do what they say because you're guilty. For example, I know I'm not ruining my life by not applying, but like obviously I feel guilty now because he said like, well, you're affecting your whole entire family by these choices that you're making. Another example is, let's say you do go out with your friends and you hang out with them on a Friday night and your parents don't like it. And they make you feel guilty. Beta, like, we're sitting at home, we're waiting up for you all night. This is not okay. Like, this is not the behavior of a girl. Whatever they're saying, there is value in it. Like, at the end of the day, they want you to be safe. But then never going out or missing something that was really important to you because you feel guilty for leaving your parents, or you feel guilty that they're gonna be stressed for you. Like, you gotta think about it this way. If you're just going out with your friends, you're not going out and doing something inappropriate till 3 in the morning. You're not doing drugs. You're not crazily partying or doing something inappropriate. Like, you have to know yourself and trust your own values. So if it's just a dinner, you gotta reassure yourself, I'm just going for dinner. I'm gonna be home by midnight. I don't think that there's anything wrong with going to my friend's birthday event. This person's a good friend for me. I'm not doing anything bad. And so, yeah, I feel a little bit guilty for leaving my parents, or they said this that makes me feel guilty, or they're making me feel bad for going out at night. They're saying that's like not okay to do. Like, I have all this guilt, brown girl guilt of like, why am I doing this? You have to reassure yourself and be so confident in your own decision. I'm not partying, I'm not drinking, I'm not smoking, I'm not doing crack, like whatever. And I actually, in my gut don't think that this is a bad thing to do. And so I'm still gonna do it, and I'm gonna keep reassuring myself. The more you reassure yourself in the choice that you're making, the less guilt you will feel. And every time you do get a moment of guilt, keep reassuring yourself, no, I'm not doing anything wrong. This is XYZ reasons why this is a good idea. And you know, I'm not taking it too far, and I'm acting within my morals and my values. You have to have a strong morals and value system. And lastly, living at home does not mean that you're failing. Like, I myself, considering moving home at 25, it doesn't mean that I'm a failure. The fact that you're living at home for whatever reason does not mean you're a failure. It means you're in transition and you're in a certain period of your life. And having boundaries or doing any of the things that I described, it doesn't mean that you're disrespecting them. In none of this are we putting parents down or disregarding them or not appreciating them. What your parents are telling you, 100% there is value in it. There is a truth in it, and they're always, most of the time, they have the best intention for you. Don't ever forget that. But you choosing to do these certain things for yourself doesn't mean that you're disrespecting them. If you are navigating living at home in your 20s, and this helped you, please drop a comment below so we can support each other. Your healing doesn't start when you move out. You can reclaim your voice now, and there are things that are in your control to make your living situation and your life a lot better right now. Once again, guys, my name is Neeti. I'm your everything big sister confidence advice. I am your brown girl just here to help you. If you don't already subscribe, please make sure to subscribe, and you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, where I post shorter form day-to-day lifestyle content and advice. Of course, there's always advice. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!